Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dragon's Dogma. I almost said Dark Souls. If you've been watching this in semi-real time-ish, more or less, you probably noticed that there was a huge delay between, well, most of my Dragon's Dogma videos and these recent, like, 2 or 3 that I've uploaded. So, in real life, I recently, like 6 or 7 weeks ago or something like that, I moved to a new city. And during that process, my external hard drive that these videos were stored on got damaged. And I lost pretty much everything that was on there. Conveniently, I had 2 or maybe 3 of these Dragon's Dogma videos on my laptop for editing. So those survived, and those are the last couple that immediately preceded this one. Very conveniently, it ended with me fighting off and actually killing the dragon, which is pretty fantastic. That's a really... I get really lucky with how that ended. Not so lucky, just this whole situation sucks. So I had actually recorded most of the Bitter Black Isle, the actual Dark Arisen stuff, and that's all lost. So it's also not going to be me actually going in blindly, as I had hoped, since I've kind of already gone through most of it. So here's the scoop. I am in New Game Plus right now with my character. I am also an offensively high level, so if we check really quick, I'm level 128, which is much, much, much higher than wherever I was at when I fought the dragon initially. Oh man, this dragon is being a jerk here. Okay. Let's turn this flame shot off real quick. Yeah, so I'm in New Game Plus right now, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the New Game Plus thing and get the Everfall. As you can see, it is normal. Well, I guess it's nighttime now, but the sky is normal. It's not creepy, crazy, end game darkness power. The Everfall hasn't opened up and destroyed Gran Soren in this particular playthrough yet. So I'm going to go fly through the rest of the story missions here. I think I have to go deal with Grigori again, although, I don't know, that might be fun to do on camera again. Just show power difference. I'm probably not going to. That would require a lot of effort. Anyway, so I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna skip most of the Everfall. I might fight the dragon once more just because I need to get all those wake stones again. Although I think I have a lot of wake stones anyway. Also, I have a really creepy mask. That's a really creepy mask thing. It's actually like a veil. Yeah, so I'm gonna play as the the magic archer? Whatever this class is called. I'm going to be using these magic archery skills and stuff because I find this class to be probably the most fun. Lucy's going to stay sorcerer from now on. So yeah, we're going to see the end of the actual... Curious to know if this gives light. Not really. So we're going to see the end of the actual like Everfall stuff, and then that whole quest line, which is pretty neat. I like that little ending. And then we're going to go deal with the DLC stuff. And I'm going to go through it once, so I have played through it, start to finish. I went ahead and finished it off camera as well before recording this, because it didn't make sense for me to have already seen part of it, but not have finished it and stuff. So I have some rewards. I have like some weapons and armor and stuff from that, which are pretty slick. What we're going to do is I'm going to finish up this round of the game, this cycle, and then start another New Game Plus, so a New Game Plus Plus, I guess, which sadly does not like increase the difficulty of enemies and things like it does in Dark Souls, but, you know, that's okay. And then in that New Game Plus, we are going to start the Bitter Black Isle area over again. The actual Dark Arisen stuff, we're going to do that from the beginning. We're going to go all the way through, and I've seen all that. I've done all that now. But there is a second, like, if you go back in there after you've cleared it out, I've just kind of poked my head into the first area. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get there. But if you go back in there after beating the final boss of the area, it's like insanely hard. It steps all the difficulty up for everything. It introduces new monsters that you can only see on that second playthrough. I don't know all the details, but it's like almost a New Game Plus in and of itself, but without actually having to like continue the cycle again, without having to actually start the game over again, or without having to finish everything, wrap it up, and then start over from scratch. You just like turn around and walk right back into the dungeon, and it's all new. Oh, my lantern's out of oil. That's probably why it's so dark. So yeah, that's my strategy. That's what we're going to be doing. It's going to be a lot of fun. I need to go grab 2 more pawns, though. My other pawns... Well, like I said, I stuck my head into the Bitter Black Isle place after beating it once, just to see. I was just curious to see, because I'd heard that it changes, but I didn't know to what extent. So just kind of poked my nose in there, and immediately... I almost died. I managed to escape with my life, but both of my other pawns were... Actually, all 3 of my pawns, Lucy included. They were all killed, and they were all sucked into the void, like they were all perma-killed. So that was bad. I'm actually very surprised that I managed to get out of there in one piece, though my dignity was not necessarily intact at that point. So yeah, we've got quite the adventure ahead of us still. That's all for my little update here. Just kind of wanted to let you guys know what's going on, because I have some pretty dramatically different equipment and crazy skills and things like that. Which I guess, let's talk about that. Let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Also, I want that rift fragment. Okay, so items and stuff are pretty insignificant. Weapons are where it's at. So Heaven's Key. This is a permanently holy enchanted set of daggers that I'm wielding there that comes from the Dragon. When you kill the Dragon offline, you randomly get a piece of equipment at the end. You can get like the Ascalon Holy Sword, or they're all holy enchanted. So the Ascalon Holy Sword, or the Heaven's Key Holy Daggers, and then I think there's just like a normal mage staff, a holy enchanted staff that can also be obtained. So that's what I've got there. The bow here is actually like a super crazy rare magic bow. Let's see, I forget what it's called. Dragon's Tempest. It is permanently lightning enchanted, so it will always do lightning element unless, I have a mage or a sorcerer or somebody enchant me with a different element. This came from Bitter Black Isle, from the Dark Arisen stuff. So this is like a top tier, super crazy good, like mega unbelievably rare weapon that I got from there. So that's nice. For Lucy's weapon, she has a similar sort of thing. She has a very powerful arch staff with a permanent holy enchantment. Also came from Bitter Black Isle, and you'll see how we got those later. Same with my mask, the Grave Veil. One of the 13 fabled Bitter Black armaments befouled by devilry. Boosts strength when you're noticed by a large number of enemies. So the more enemies see me, the stronger my offense will be. This is also super duper rare armor from Bitter Black Isle. I just got that after defeating the final boss of the area, so that's pretty neat. And then just a Dragon Leather Vest. I have a belt from Bitter Black Isle that increases my odds of staggering enemies, which doesn't really matter. It was nice when I was playing as like a warrior or like a mystic knight or something, and I was actually like hitting enemies with my sword and trying to knock them over and stagger them. Now it doesn't really apply so much. And then just typical armor. Trophy boots will they increase my weight capacity, which helps with my inventory management issues that I've been having. We'll talk about my rings in just a second, because those are probably the most interesting change. Lucy has just some, you know, whatever, just some pretty good armor. The Adept's Robe is a recent addition. That's pretty nice. It has just a tiny bit of HP recovery to everybody that's kind of within a radius around Lucy. It doesn't heal her, I don't think, but it will constantly restore the health of myself and any other pawns that get near her. So that's nice. And then she has a hat that lets her skills last longer. Duration of sigils, an object summoned via weapon skills. So if she ever casts like a healing spell, which she can't because she's a sorcerer, not a mage, then that would probably last for a bit longer. I like it just because it's like, it looks like a stereotypical witch's hat, which is awesome. Like, that's so awesome. I was wearing that hat for a while until I got the weird veil that I've got going on now. Let's see. So that's it for those. The last thing, I guess, would be the rings. So in the dungeon, Bitter Black Isle, the Dark Arisen stuff, you can occasionally find these items that we'll get into the whole purification thing when we get there. But basically, you can end up getting these rings very, very rarely. They're pretty tough to come by, and they're just kind of random, like as to what they boost. So I actually got lucky, and Lucy has 2 rings. I also have 2 rings that are class-specific, and they upgrade a skill. So you know how you can get a skill, like Threefold Bolt, and then you can upgrade it as you increase your vocation into Sixfold Bolt. This ring will take that up an extra notch. So instead of Threefold Bolt or Sixfold Bolt, I actually have Ninefold Bolt, and I can shoot like a crazy flurry of 9 ice beams, which is super, super, super awesome. So I have one for those. I have one for my my dagger skills as well. I have Flame Shroud, which lights me on fire, and it causes me to take continual damage over time to myself. But it also lets me just ignite enemies. You saw me using that against the goblins and things. So that's pretty neat. The other one is Shadow Pin, Shadow Shackle, which I never ever use, so I don't really care about that. Yeah, so the kind of quote-unquote uncommon rings just boost 1 skill, so just Threefold Bolt and Sixfold Bolt. The really, really rare ones boost 2 skills, so Shadow Pin and Backfire, Shadow Shackle and Immolation, as the case may be. So those are really nice to have. So Lucy, I have a ring for her that boosts Ingle to Grand. It just adds, so instead of like spell, high spell, and then the third tier is going to be Grand spell. So she now has Grand Ingle, which presumably shoots like 6 or 7 fireballs instead of 1/3. I think Ingle is 1, I think High Ingle is 3, so I think Grand Ingle is like 6, 5, something like that. I don't know. Fulmination, then Seism, the Earthquake. So not skills that I was using a ton, but she has all 3 of those skills right now just because I kind of wanted to see what the Grand versions do. Although I haven't actually seen her use them yet. I do have the right skills on her, right? I'll be embarrassed if I put the wrong skills on her. Yeah, Grand Ingle, Grand Seism, and Grand Fulmination. Erodes less stamina and amplifies the spark granted to allies. Yet more eruptions of stones, expands the range of the tremors. A greater number of fiery projectiles. Yeah, so that's fun. That's all. We've got some pretty good gear, but I mean, that area is a world apart from anything else we've encountered in the game so far. Like, it is crazy how difficult that place is. In a good way. It provides a level of challenge that was not necessarily present. You know, once you get to a high enough level, and once you kind of know what you're doing and are comfortable with your skills, this game is not terribly challenging. Bitter Black Isle, the Dark Arisen storyline, completely changes that. Turns the mechanics of the game kind of on their head. No longer is every enemy weak to either fire or holy. It's things that are, immune to all elements except ice, things like that. Look at that. Jeez, these goblins are just like exploding when I walk into them. That's fantastic. Okay, yeah, so that's it for this update. Next time we will be, I guess, turning in 20 wake stones. I think that's when that's where I'm going to pick up again. So apologies for this kind of non-ideal situation, but just that's the way of things. And you know, thank you for sticking with it. And next video will be more interesting, I promise. And I'll see you there.